I ain't had shit to do today. What time is it? 2:30 in the afternoon, Wednesday. And I'm done with my work for the day. So I said I want to go live. Well, I'm going to go live later and ruffle some feathers. I'm just in the mood to ruffle some feathers and put some people's panties in a bunch. What's up, excuse me. Squally Vision TV, what's happening, homie? Right? So, I buy prunes, right? Prunes is an underrated fruit. Extremely great for gut health. Listen to me. Extremely great for gut health. And it said you should eat 5 little prunes a day. And you'll have very nice bowel movements and good gut health. And it's a great source of fiber. Oh, Johnny Webb, good question, good question. Good question. And it's a good question that I can elaborate on, right? So this is a question and answer session. Ask me any goddamn thing, whether it's personal, whether it's about, history or science, any damn thing. But let me answer your question because I would love to answer that one. Hold on, what you say? You shouldn't eat bird shit. Prunes is dried plums. A plum is a fruit, not shit. Okay, this dude has mental health problems. Shit. Definitely mental health problems. Donnie, you said tell us more about your teacher you mentioned before. I never heard of him. So last night, if you didn't catch that video, last night that video was straight fire. People inbox me and shit. Video Chief X, that video was fire you made last night. That shit was so real. I know. So Mathu Atar is his name. Mathu. Atar. Ater. You can put in Mathu Atar on YouTube and you'll see lectures of his that'll pop up from 2 decades ago. Mathu Atar is what I called my teacher. When I was an Egyptomaniac, when I was off course, when I was in this Afrocentric cult, Mathu Atar, I considered my teacher and friend. We've hung out. We've been to the movies together. It's like, if I say somebody's my, I'm like for real, for real. So we hung out. We went to the movies, and Mathu Atar was Ashra Kwesi's peer. Okay, Mathu Atar helped Ashra Kwesi and them. They started their business together. But Ashra Kwesi was more outgoing and more of an extrovert. But Mathu Atar was the quiet one. Didn't care about the attention. Just did his lectures. People love Mathu Atar. Just did his lectures, and he doesn't have a YouTube. You know what I mean? He has a Facebook, and he's my Facebook friend. If you're my Facebook friend and you put in Mathu Atar, he'll pop up. But he doesn't have all this social media. He's not out here chasing clout, arguing, debating. He's an elder here in Los Angeles. He's and he's my teacher. So a lot of people haven't heard of him. So this happens because you have to understand you have 50 states. There's elders and there's scholars in all 50 states that people live in, right? But since this so-called conscious media is in New York with Sa Neter, most people in the 50 states only know who, like people like Sa Neter, have put out to the public and speak about the New York crowd and stuff and people who was teaching and doing shit in New York. So everybody knows these people. That's a very small world, right? There's elders and scholars all over the place. So since other places don't have the media like Sonetta does in New York, you won't know about a lot of these people and haven't heard of them. So it's a lot of time when I'm be like, Mathu Attar, people like, who? A lot of my social media friends know him. And he's been on, when I'm in Raw Squad, used to have a blog talk radio show. I invited him on there and he just went on there and talked, you know what I mean? So, yeah, just put in Mathu Attar, Mathur, excuse me, U-A-T-R, too. He's a legitimate, credentialed architect. Like, he really draws out plans. He does architect, church architect, you know. Um, so, with his knowledge of being in architecture, he applied that to ancient Egypt structures and monuments and, pyramids and Imhotep, who was supposed to be a multi-genius and architect, you know what I mean? So he mulched that information, that them skills together in Mathu Attar's, one of the baddest Egyptologists to me out there. None of these cats we hear about, Imfadishi, even Dr. Ben, he's better than Ashraf Quaid. He's deeper than all these cats. But a lot of y'all don't know him. So I'll mention him because I have relationships with true Dr. Ben students who used to be on tour with him on the first tours. Because Dr. Ben was back and forth from New York and LA a lot. So Dr. Ben has a following and students out here in LA. Let me tell you, Ashraf Quazi from LA, Runoko Rashidi from LA, Dr. Khalid Muhammad was always out here and started the mosque out here, LA. You know what I mean? So a lot of these early pioneers are influential in Los Angeles, right? So I'm not impressed when these cats be talking about the elders and acting like they're so close to an elder when they're really not that close. They're just as close as anybody else who knew Dr. Ben and who was around him when he was teaching and attending his lectures. You get what I'm saying? Michelle asked me, am I in a committed relationship? Michelle, I was previously married, you know what I mean? I have 3 children. I have 2 daughters by a lady. Um, and that baby mama, she passed away. Um, I have a son by another lady. I did marry before, but not my children's mother. But we divorced at least 15 years ago. So, but I am in a relationship for 5 years now. And she's an assistant principal at a high school. Real nice lady. But I'm still single and live alone, and we don't plan on moving in together. And we just like it how we like it, right? It's peaceful that way. She live in her own place, and she's comfortable in her own place. I live in my own place, and I'm comfortable in my own place. If we want to see each other, we just visit each other. You get on each other's nerves, somebody can just go home. So, like, when you're in your 50s and you get older, your relationships are a little different than when you were younger. So our kids are grown and out the house and independent. So we don't need each other as a mother and father figure. You get what I'm saying? Kids are gone. So we also, each of us are okay. She makes great money. She has a couple properties. She's an assistant principal. I mean, she has her own little other side business. She had a rental property. So she can handle her own bills and her own rent fine by herself. I can handle my own rent, my own bills, and everything fine by myself. So we don't see the need to shack up, right? So technically, I'm single because I'm not married, right? I do have a lady friend, okay? And uh, and life is good. You know what I'm saying? But I still do my thing because I'm grown and I do what the fuck I want to do. I had to remove this habits dude from the chat. Crazy. Habits unplugged, whoever the hell that is. CLC, what's up? Where do you see the conscious community going forward? Uh, um, um, I'm not a TikToker, but I've been on TikTok. I'm not a big Instagrammer, but I do have a business Instagram. Right? The conscious community is getting worse and worse and worse because of these extra social media sites like Instagram and TikTok and stuff. A lot of these youngsters and new generation coming up are getting straight brainwashed by the same pseudo history, by the same revised history, and they doubling down on the pseudoscience and the way crazy shit, and we the original Native Americans, and we it's getting worse and worse and worse. And the reason why it's getting worse is because a lot of these cats out here and online and YouTube are not correcting information like I am. They're not exposing the bullshit. You have real people teaching real information out here, and they're not sharing these videos. Like, people aren't sharing my videos. So how can the younger generation see it or get it? It's too many cats in the YouTube scene who hate on each other, or in competition with each other, so they won't share each other's shit. You will never see people share my videos. Therefore, uneducated people won't get to see it. So a lot of this stuff is on y'all. When you really think about it and look down into it. If you're not sharing people who are into science-based and STEM and real history, then the pseudos are going to continue winning. So the so-called conscious community is getting worse. But in reality, it's just a cyber world. It's not a real community. It's no unity at all. Everyone is at odds. Everyone has an agenda. People are hotep hustling. The conscious community is a cult, in a farce, in a disingenuous community. You know what I mean? The conscious community is built off of, I don't want to say rejects. I'll say people who got fed up with religion, who fell out the church. They read a book or two more than a traditional person, and they think they fucking smart now because they read one book or two more or heard some shit. You know what I mean? And they fell out with the church and got to arguing with their family and think their family's dumb and ignorant because they think they're conscious and shit. So the conscious community is built off a bunch of riff-raff, angry people who fell off out the church, angry people who was upset at the way America was going, they upset at what they consider white supremacy. It's just a bunch of angry and upset people seeking something. They're confused on what they're seeking, but they're just fellowshipping and networking and seeking and searching for something. But what happens is they left the church. They may left the mosque, wherever they left. And they came into the conscious community and ran into a bunch of ignorant people in the conscious community and got brainwashed again, right? They picked up more crazy beliefs than they had in church. Now all of a sudden you as a good Christian and getting along with your family and on your way or doing whatever you're doing. And now all of a sudden you come into the conscious community. Now you believe in chakras and kundalinis and shit. Now you believe in all this old fake history. Now you think you didn't listen to Polite and Young Pharaoh and shit, and now you think 5G caused the coronavirus. So you guys left the church and got worse, and joined the cult, and everybody's bouncing bullshit off of each other. You know what I mean? Searching and looking. It's crazy. It's a big psychological game. Let me see. What's up, S. Russ? What's your question? Let me roll down, see if you typed your question. Leonard Bates asked me a question. A lot of times, people have to really listen. Okay. Let me do this to answer that question. Let me just answer it off the head. Wait a minute. I want to get you the specific definition so you can understand, but let me just go off the head. Okay? Let me reread your question. I gotta keep pushing this live chat button because the questions disappear. Okay, there they go. How is it that you don't think white supremacy exists, or black people are not the most discriminated group of people on planet Earth? Now, that's an assumption. You've never heard me say black people are not the most discriminated, okay? And you never heard me say white supremacy don't exist. So let's just put it all in proper context, okay? This is where people get confused, and you have to understand. It's just clarity. Things are just not as basic. For instance, understand this. White supremacy is an ideology. It's not a person. White supremacy is an ideology that most people in the conscious community embrace unknowingly. Let me give you an example. White supremacy is an ideology, whereas the feeling that those who are not white are less intelligent, right? Are not able to run their own affairs and things in here in America, right? So they're of the understanding that everyone else should be dominated because we're superior and you're inferior. This is the ideology. Okay? So, white national. So when someone calls somebody a white supremacist, they're really out of context. What you're trying to say is you're talking to white nationalists. Because all racist people don't feel that they're superior and that they should be in control of you. A lot of white nationalists just want you gone. They don't want to dominate you and control you. Okay? I'm confusing it a bit, so let me just clear it up. Okay? So, white nationalists are people who are for their nation, for America. But that doesn't mean you're a racist because you're a white nationalist. but more than likely. So here's an example of how so-called conscious black folk and black folk in general embrace and push white supremacy. So we tell all our children and tell our friends, oh, he's a policeman. He's a coon. Oh, I don't want to be no police. Oh, fuck the police. And we bash law enforcement. We influence our children to not become police or sheriff deputies or get into law enforcement. So subconsciously, what we're saying and doing and practicing is we're saying we only want to be dominated by white folk. We only want white law enforcement. Don't you become a police. Oh, you'll be a coon. Oh, you're a sellout. In order to get power, in order to get influence, in order to have some authority, you have to get into positions of authority. You have to get in positions of power to have power and authority. Okay? So if we're telling all our kids and all these people on here saying fuck the police, and we got a rap song saying fuck the police, and you're influencing your kids not to become law enforcement by these sentiments, you're practicing white supremacy unknowingly because you want to be dominated. You don't want black youth or young police officers to patrol their own neighborhoods and protect their grandmothers and mothers, okay? Like the Irish, I make this example all the time. The Irish and the Italian got really smart. And they had their children join the police forces, join law enforcement. So the mafia had all these Italian, European police officers running around protecting their neighborhoods, creating interference, looking out for them, patrolling grandma and auntie because they're the police. Irish did the same. But here we are. As blacks, fuck the police. Don't become a police. You get what I'm saying? So we accept and push white supremacy unknowingly. We're just programmed like that, right? So I'm a grown man who is free. I don't think I'm a slave like y'all. A lot of y'all said, let's get liberation, meaning you think you're not liberated. You're saying I'm a slave. I need to get liberated. You're placing yourself in a subordinate position. I don't make these claims because everything is psychological. There's an ideology of white supremacy. Okay? Now, there's white supremacists. There are racist people. But one thing you got to understand is you can never stop racism. To the day you die, to the day your grandchildren die, 200 years from now, they're going to be racist people. Human beings are just like that. We have certain biases and we have certain feelings about shit. People are all going to say Japanese people can't drive, they can't see with them slanted eyes, and we're going to get into our feelings and talk shit and display racist attitudes and sentiments. People are going to always dislike niggas in the hood and people who gang bang and all this ratchet shit and say these niggas and black folk is crazy. People are just going to feel that way, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you can never change how a person feels inside. So it's a waste of time. Harping on it, thinking you can change it, it doesn't exist. You and me are free. I have a passport. I'm liberated. I can go to Russia right now if I want to. I can go to Africa right now if I want to. I can go anywhere in the country I want to. Right now, damn, it's hard to. Right now, My LLC. My LLC, Third Eye Hemp and CBD LLC. It's a CBD and Delta 8 business. I can start any business I want to. Nobody's going to stop me. I can start a toilet paper company right now. Nobody's going to stop me. Where's white supremacy stopping me? It don't exist. This shit's in your head. I can do what the fuck I want. If I have a white neighbor, me and him can do the exact same thing. He's not superior to me. He has no power over me at all. My Mexican neighbor, my Asian neighbor, my white neighbor, if we still, all us men, none of them men have any power over me. I have no power over them. We're all individuals who can do what the fuck we want to do and are free. Now, there are racist people. There's nothing you can do about it. The system, there's no systematic racism in 2022. It's because we had the civil rights era, fighting for our rights. So there's laws and rights and rules and regulations in place right now to protect you and every other human. Right now, I can sue a white boy. If he pushed me and I fell on the ground, I can take his ass to court and win. And he will be in jail. There's no supremacy over me or you. It's all in your head. So my point is, you'll never stop racists from living. The conscious community is full of black supremacists who are rabid racists. But you guys don't want nobody else to be racist. Only you want to be racist. It don't work like that. Okay? You guys are more rabid racist than white folk, I know. Okay? Let's just be honest. So there's no systematic racism in 2022, except, there may be a racist person or a racist judge. That's an individual who had his biases and gave somebody more time than they deserved. That's that one racist judge. That's not the system. You get what I'm saying? Now, there's one great example of systematic racism that I don't know if they've abolished this, but it's known. When they give more time for crack than they give for powder cocaine. That's an example of systematic racism. But we've attacked that already. We've talked about that. We've discussed it. And it really doesn't go down in court no more. Okay? So, I don't believe in systematic racism in 2022. That's why I say we have to update our minds for conversations in 2022. If my mind is stuck in the 70s, 60s, and 50s, yeah, there was systematic racism then. Okay? But my mind is not stuck in the 50s and 60s. So when I'm talking to you in 2022, I would be disingenuous to use a 1950 and 1960 example. But most of the conscious community and most of our teachers always talked about the past. So today we are flooded with ideology and pro-black talk from years ago, not 2022. You niggas is free now and do what the fuck you want to do. You are spoiled black Americans now. There's nobody holding you back except yourself. You cats can do anything you want to do and nobody's stopping you. Right? The police chief of LA used to be a black man named Tom Bradley. There's cities now that have a black police chief and a black mayor who's running the motherfucking city and making decisions on their own. So America is a melting pot of many ethnicities, many races and people. And we as a people run America. We just had a black president. And under his regime, we had a black attorney general, the top cop, basically. A black attorney general. Now, we all make decisions as a group of melting pot people. The government, when they say they, the government is not just white folk. You're an American. I'm an American. So, we all make decisions, right? Right now, we got a black vice president. You know what I mean? So, when you say the government, that means you're talking about different, many, 100 agencies within the government. You got the FDA, you got the FBI, you got NASA's part of it. You got all these different entities. You got agricultural department of agriculture. You got all these different departments that have different people employed. My daddy was a government employee. He did 50 years at the post office as a postal clerk. He's still a government employee. He's still a federal employee. My daddy's benefits are the same exact benefits as any senator in Washington, D.C., any politician in Washington, D.C. People was under the impression that white folk got some kind of different benefits. Nope. Whether you're white, black, Chinese, if you work for the government, you got the same fucking benefits. There's no different benefits. There's no benefits in a plan for white folk and a different plan for black folk. There's a plan for the federal employee. And you get a package you fill out when you're applying for the job. What do you want to choose? You want to choose Kaiser? You want to choose Blue Cross? You choose it and you got power. And it's not race-based. You get what I'm saying? So no, I don't agree with a system of systematic racism. I only think that there are individual races who may happen to work in a system, and you guys take it as that whole system's racist when it was just one individual in the system. Y'all are getting off of court cases for murder. Niggas is committing murder and getting off scot-free. Niggas is raping and pillaging and getting off scot-free. You niggas is not no slaves no more. You niggas is not being controlled at all. Everything you doing and happening is a personal decision that everyone chose. You get what I'm saying? That's where I'm coming from. Okay, so E Pluribus Nunum asked me, hi, I asked you before. E Pluribus Nunum, please go check out my video from yesterday. This shit is bullshit compared to the one I had last night. Now, if you watched the one last night, you wouldn't be asking this question, but let me answer you. Hi, I asked you before about Ramses and Pentawar, who were haplogroup E1B1A. Does haplotype equate to phenotype? And this is where I always tell people, I am not the DNA guy. I'm not one of these fake niggas who front and act like they're a multi-genius. They can break down DNA science. They can break down migration science, evolution science, and all these different fields. That's not me. You will never see me here teaching anybody any genetics because I wouldn't want to miseducate nobody. Okay? So it's hard for me to answer that question, but I do know that a lot of times people in the conscious community, when they find out they're not related to this, they're not a descendant from ancient Egypt, they'll switch over from mtDNA, mitochondrial DNA, and focus on haplogroups, you know what I mean? Which basically is like, you know what I mean, you might have some haplogroup from 70,000 years ago that's shared with white, black, and Mexican people, you know what I mean? But you want to act like, okay, I got this in my haplogroup, that means I'm... People use the haplogroups to play games and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what. So, but I don't know how else to answer your question. We don't descend from ancient Egyptians. If that's what you're searching for, that angle or that hole up the middle to run through. Nope. There's a guy named Mr. Imhotep up on YouTube who's claiming Black Egypt with what he says is receipts. Have you saw him? And if so, what do you think about him? Yeah, he's a wacko. He's been around for a while. You know, there's about 3 different Imhoteps, so I'll be confused. You have a guy named who's Dr. Imhotep. You got a guy on Facebook named Imhotep who has like 1 million fucking followers and shit. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but all 3 of them are frauds. Put it that way. Dr. Sebi's son used to think the FBI was following him because he heals. The FBI and the feds don't give a fuck about nobody talking about no goddamn sea moss. I mean, like, let's be real. They don't give a fuck that a person is getting some fucking nutrition. I mean, people go crazy with this conspiracy. Nobody gave a fuck about Dr. Sebi to even try to kill him. No, all that story about all these herbalists were died or were assassinated and killed, and they have the all that's a bunch of bullshit, misinformation, and propaganda. Nobody gives a fuck because Dr. Sebi ain't never healed nobody. Who gives a fuck? Dr. Sebi has never ever cured one person on earth of any major disease. Matter of fact, anybody who went down to Yusha facility in South America, everybody who went down there fucking with Sebi got worse. Shit. A lady friend down there all up in the motherfucking water and shit. Some supposedly fake alkaline pond and water and shit, thinking she getting healed. The bitch left Sebi's fucking camp in South America, came on back home and had to go to the motherfucking hospital for surgery and shit. The left eye went all up out there and lost her goddamn mind. Left eye went up out there with Dr. Sebi and what happened? Got into a motherfucking car accident. You know what I mean? Then got into another motherfucking car accident, and this time she ran over somebody and killed them. Crazy. Her focus was all you go out there and you get in 2 goddamn car accidents, and the second one you kill somebody. Then Dr. Sebi lied on her and said he cured her of herpes. Lisa Left Eye Lopez ain't never told nobody she had no motherfucking herpes. She ain't never told Dr. Sebi that. You can't find nowhere where she said she had herpes. After she died, Dr. Sebi lied on her and was totally disrespectful. That's disrespectful, to lie on someone for financial gain. So now he telling everybody he healed Lisa Left Eye Lopez of herpes. Therefore, all you other motherfuckers who got herpes gonna run to him for his magic powder so you can get your herpes cured up. Charlatan. That's how they hustle you niggas. They tell one lie, you niggas believe it, and then y'all come to this and stop. I got $1,000 for somebody to prove Sebi cured one person of a major disease. Sebi got an herb for autism. Talking about he can cure autism with a herb. I was a youth counselor for 10 years. Ain't no herb gonna cure no autism. Ain't no plant. Oh, I don't have autism no more. I ate a plant. Stupid motherfuckers. You say, Jesus Christ, you've shared my videos, but no one really goes to my Facebook page. Thanks for the insightful response. Great information you're giving. Where's your opinion that Joel D. Irish and Soy Keita both state that Lower Egypt has the most influence from migration compared to Upper Egypt? That's not how they stated that. They didn't say it like that. It's way more complicated than that. Wait a minute. Lower Egypt, meaning Northern Egypt. Okay, but wait a minute. Let me just reread. Compared to Upper Egypt. Let me just say this, bro. When they talking about pre-dynastic Egypt, them are not Nubians, them are not black folk. Pre-dynastic Egypt was motherfuckers from West Asia, all up and down there, because they've been traveling up and down the Nile, all the way down to that first cataract for 10 thousands of years, before there was even a Egypt. Egypt became a nation state. Only thing that North Africans and them Caucasian people was getting from Nubians was that gold and ivory, and send us a labor force, nigga, so we can get some of this work done. Gold, ivory, and send us a labor force and give us some tribute. And when you give tribute, that means you're giving away a few slaves. Yeah, them were slaves in that procession, giving honor to King Tut. And they had people in shackle, and they brought King Tut, the Caucasian, some Nubian black slaves. Yeah? Afrocentrics won't tell you that. Russell Lawrence, I'm not sure if you're on social media or not, but I've argued and argued for hours with people about law enforcement. And the black conscious community is totally against it. And they will call you a coon if you're a police. They will call you a sellout. And they will throw all these sentiments out to any black person who is law enforcement. They'll also double down on that and tell you black police officers are worse than white police officers. It's just crazy. I'm just reading the comments. Bear with me. She said, went from one religion to another. Yep. You used to think Rastafarianism was African, later to find out it's Hindu in origin. Yeah, all that shit people believe in the conscious community is basically Hindu. Most of the females in the conscious community unknowingly embrace Hinduism. That's what chakras are, Kundalini, all that is Hindu religion. The third eye, that's Hindu religion. That dot is no such thing as a third eye. The third eye and pineal gland is two different things. They have nothing to do with each other. Pineal gland is real science, and there is an actual pineal gland. There's no such thing as a third eye. A third eye is Hindu religious belief. Okay? Lotus births, astrology, all that is Hindu shit. uh, Imagine if the Panthers would have went to law enforcement. That would have been a good thing. Have I heard of shaka bars? Maybe that's a typo, I'm not sure. I've never heard of anybody called shaka bars. I've heard of Shaka Amos, the pedophile. Hey, Tony said, greetings from Portugal. Good luck and common sense science for your business, Chief X. Peace to you, too. What's up, Charlie B? Another example of systematic racism, E pluribus am saying, is is how the heroin epidemic is treated as a mental health issue instead of a criminal one like crack and cocaine. You know, I disagree with that statement. Okay, a lot of this heroin, um, it's not like street heroin, like OGs used to put that shit in a, draw it up in a syringe and they hit your shit and niggas on the street when, you know, rap with the thing wrapped around their arm and they sitting here nodding on the street. They be taking it in different forms now, in pills and pharmaceutical shits and shit like that. So it's a different thing. So it's not going to be treated like crack. Okay? I grew up in the crack era. I used to be on crack. Niggas was going crazy. Well, I remember I done something way out of character in 1991. I snatched a lady's purse and ran and shit just to get some more dope and shit. Shit's crazy. No, it's a difference. The behavior, that's just things people reach for to, you know. Anyway, the heroin epidemic is not just a white thing. So if you feel that they're taking it easy, they're taking it easy on everybody at this time. This is just a different time. It's 2022. So you can't compare to what was going on in the 90s and crack epidemic and heroin all in the certain things you just can't compare. We call that like confirmation bias. You're looking for something to to co-sign your belief. CLC, we don't get anything. We don't get anything we don't fight for. Everything black people we have we fought for. Yep, those people who crossed the Bering Strait, ivory still, or an East Asian stock, those are the Native Americans. They populated the entire Western Hemisphere all by themselves. American lady says, my mom went to Goree Island in Senegal. When she returned from her trip, it was like pulling teeth to get her to mention it. I think she was traumatized. Did you have a similar experience in Ghana? Yes, I did, American lady. So a lot of people were mad at when I got back from Ghana. You would have to be my Facebook friend to understand. When I got back from Ghana, people had attitudes. I mean, even in the airport, me coming back, black Americans had an attitude. Either they were jealous, they were envy, or I remember sitting in the airport on my way home from Ghana, and I'm reading this book, and I took a picture with it, the book. And I was excited about it. I said, I brought this book in Ghana. And the author of this book is a PhD who's a professor at Ghana University, right? So every time I say Ghanaians teach history different than black Americans, they admit their hand in the slave trade and will tell you we Africans been practicing slavery before the white man and before the Arab, right? So as I'm sitting with this book and I take a picture, oh, black Americans is getting pissed off. And I'm like, damn. So, what was your question again? Hold on, I forgot. Hold on. Oh, when she returned from her trip, it was like pulling teeth, you said, to get her to mention it. I think she was traumatized. And maybe this is why I say, when I went to Africa and I came back, I'm like, these black Americans who've been going to West Africa and Central Africa, been doing the same thing they do and romanticizing it. They're not just telling you the reality of what's there and what's going on, that real shit they see and all that poverty that they see. They're not telling you about these orphanages and how the government is not helping orphanages. They're not just telling you them real stories. So a lot of that shit be traumatizing. When we riding up and down the street, and I'm seeing like, so this I know we're just spoiled black Americans. So when I see people with fucking iron pots and shit, and no stoves and refrigerators and shit. And they in a yard, with a pot and fire and sticks under the pot, and they just cooking shit like they just living in some primitive times and shit like that. I think it traumatizes some Black Americans, and they don't want to come back and tell you the real story of what they really seen, what they really heard. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's the same thing. Everybody's trying to be ancient Egyptians. They're trying to cater to what's sexy and push back and suppress their own homeland and where they came from and representing Western South because of some shame, because it's underdeveloped. It's an underdeveloped country, and they have this shame and shit. But what they have to understand is they live in a privileged country where they're spoiled. And they have to realize and understand that other countries outside of America are underdeveloped also. All throughout, South America, there's many. Brazil, many underdeveloped areas. You know what I mean? Uh, 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 all in Europe and the Caucasus is poor people. Farmers, you know what I'm saying, with nothing. You know what I mean? All they got is their goats and shit. You know what I mean? And goats and their dogs and shit. Y'all don't know about the poverty in the Caucasus Mountains and shit? All around Russia and people on the road. Man, there's poverty everywhere, so Black Americans need to get over it. And stop feeling the shame. It's okay. Represent your bloodline and your distant heritage. You know what I mean? Tell the truth about what's going on so people can be aware. When I tell this story, I never knew that there was orphanages in Ghana and the kids don't get help for the government. The government out here help these kids in these group homes. You know what I mean? They get everything. Free college. They get donations. They get everything. Because I used to work at the group homes. I know what the fuck they get. You know what I mean? So all these secrets that Black Americans are keeping when they go to West Africa and come back, I don't like. And yeah, she probably was traumatized. And that's why she was quiet. But see, I'm so real. I tell it. I tell it. I share the book. Everything, I tell it. So they wasn't happy with Chief X. Because Chief X came back to America telling the motherfucking truth. So Black Americans wasn't happy with me about that. Let me continue reading. One law for all. Yep. Sassana said, why would people think they are still due reparations under President Lincoln? I'm just going to briefly answer that because there is a debt owed. And mainly people don't understand. People are looking for check, but no, there's other ways of reparations or reparative justice, like benefits and set asides, like free college, no taxes for a certain period of time. There's certain infrastructure in all the inner city neighborhoods, shit like that. You know what I mean? So like, it's mainly about the wealth gap. Which caused the wealth gap is when you have Americans and one group of Americans are discriminated against in Jim Crow times, and they had the peonage system, and one group is discriminated against and not given land. Their land taken, right? People put in prison for spitting so they can do the peonage system and have free labor because slavery is abolished. If all this time and effort and property and land people were denied and not given, people's land who was taken by others, caused a huge wealth gap where one segment of America became rich and the other one became poorer and poorer and poorer because of policies of that day, right? So therefore, that affected the next generation and my generation. Now I may not have no property, or my clique may not have no land because it didn't get passed down from us from an injustice. So I'm due something for an injustice that was done and wasn't able to be passed down to me, while these others passed all that shit down to their children and they living good off of it today. You get what I'm saying? So that debt that owed is also to close the wealth gap. It's a debt owed. Trust and believe. Do you get by with Google Scholarship? B. Dot the God said, "Do you get by with Google Scholarship?" Now, this is how you know people don't have professional friends. They don't have intellectual friends and shit like that. Everybody and their mama uses Google to research. My lady friend has a master's degree in education. She's an assistant principal. She Googles every fucking day. People Google to find answers to things, including you, B. God. Okay? Now, people try to use Google as some kind of shot to get at you. Right? You know what I mean? Like, hey, he Googling. So you have to explain it to these people that Google is simply a search engine. Remember that. Google is just a search engine. It takes you to the scholarship that you request. It takes you to the information that you're looking for. It's not the information. You get what I'm saying? So Google search in this search engine will take you to someone's college thesis or dissertation. Google's a search engine. I hope people continue to Google. Google's a great thing. Never let anybody tell you Google's bad. Oh, you're Googling. It's such a childish thing people say because that means they're getting the information is getting tore up. The information is getting debunked and tore up, so they want to attack the source. It's crazy. So when anybody always says you're Googling or you're using Wikipedia, that 100% of the time means they're losing the argument and they're getting their information debunked and they're getting exposed. So they're lashing out at Google and Wikipedia now. It's crazy. Yeah. Clever Speaks says, why did you lie about being a healthcare worker to get your C-19 shot, but always claim you aren't a liar? So petty! You think that was some detrimental lie? Listen to what I'm telling you. See, people, the reason why you know that is because I'm not a liar and I'm honest. I sat at home and I wanted to get a COVID shot. You're mad because I lied to a computer so I can get a COVID shot? And that makes me a dishonest person? Because I was slick enough to get a COVID vaccine by lying to the computer and telling the computer I'm a healthcare worker. Because when they opened up vaccines for people, healthcare workers were able to get it immediately. And I wanted a vaccine. So I typed in, I'm a healthcare worker on a computer. But in reality, sometimes I seen myself as a healthcare worker because I was selling herbs and CBD and shit like that to help people with their pain and shit like that. So I labeled myself under that. Is that the only shot you could have come with for me? it was it was a weak one. That's the answer. E pluribus unum said Nubians were a part of the formation of Egyptians. No, they weren't. Nubians conquered and ruled in the 25th dynasty after Egypt was on its downfall and on its way out. You know what I mean? After damn near 3,000 years already. I mean, but they formed some slave labor. That's what they formed. You know what I mean? Where Jesus probably said, when do you think Ankh went off the rails? Ankh went off the rails as soon as I put down that Black Egypt debunked video. Ankh sells abjeware, so he's beholden to a little bit of Egyptomaniac still, because the business he has, selling Egyptian clothing with Egyptian symbols on them. So people have agendas. Soda asked me, do I think Nubia was a superpower or a contemporary to Egypt? Um, I mean, if you're comparing Nubia to other sub-Saharan countries or to other parts of Black Africa, I would say they had an edge because they were able to be influenced by people of the Mediterranean world. You know what I mean? So they may have had some luxuries and knowledge of things and understandings of how to build a small period that other nations didn't have. You know what I mean? Because they were the only Black African group that happened to be positioned where they can be able to do business and be trade and be in a privileged spot where they can do trade and business with Mediterranean peoples called Egyptians. And yes, and Egyptians are Mediterranean people because 90% of them live in the big cities, not in the desert. They all live by the coast, by Cairo, Alexandria, and all them big cities. So no, yeah, 90% of them, they're Mediterranean people, for sure. They ain't fucking and living in huge population in the desert. They're all up there by that coast. Where it's a little greener. You get what I'm saying? They're definitely Mediterranean people. Okay, what's up, Nahisi? Acute Wireless said, you mentioned that Phil Valentine is actually white. He looks black to me. Can you elaborate on him being white, please? Let me tell you something. Go to any West and Central African, any sub-Saharan country, besides some of those countries in East Africa, like Somalia, Ethiopia, some of those northern Sudanese who may have admixed with Arabs and have some loose curly hair and shit like that. Okay? Black folk. Black folk don't have straight hair. You're not going to go to West and Central Africa and find loose, curly haired people. All this shit these niggas talking about, oh, we coming, we have different types of hairs. Bullshit. Look at a picture of the Maasai. Not one person has no loose, curly hair. Everybody's hardcore, nappy, just like me. All them sub-Saharan tribes, besides the ones I talk about, are hardcore nappy, heavily coiled hair. West Central Africa doesn't produce loose curly hair or straight hair at all. It's one type. You can't go to Ghana or Nigeria, I've been there, and find no loose curly hair people. They are all 100% nappy. Black Americans differ because we have European DNA. And a straight hair or loose curly hair gene may express itself in us. So you'll find some of us with loose curly hair because of the European blood in us. Other than that, black folk don't come like that. Bottom line, don't let no one convince you otherwise. And the reason why them Ethiopians and them Somalians and them people next to Egypt have loose curly hair is because they're admixed with Arab blood. You get what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. We nappy people, 100%. So when they say we coming on, no we don't. We come straight nappy, no other way. Unless you're admixed. Or unless you're an African American who's been admixed. This is just the reality. So Phil Valentine doesn't look like a black man. The reason he looks like a black man is the same reason some people will call Cardi B a black woman. Because she's so immersed in the black culture and deal with black folk that psychologically and subconsciously you started, and they got hip, slick, and cool. They can sound like it, and they got a tint of a tan. So subconsciously in your mind, you've just coagulated it and made him black. Phil Valentine don't look like no black man. Phil Valentine don't look nothing like none of my uncles. Phil Valentine don't look like my daddy, my grandpa. They look nothing alike. All my uncles, my daddy, my grandpa, all the men in my family, my brother, all my homies I grew up with is nappy head niggas. Phil Valentine is not that. At best, he's a biracial. At best. I believe if he took a DNA test, he would possibly only have about 25% African DNA. 75% of that would be some European shit. Some Italian shit. Some shit from the Latin world or something. Okay? But he's not a black man. I don't call biracials black people. They're biracial. You are both white and black. You don't diss one and just accept the other. No, you biracial. You black and white. You're not black people. Mariah Carey, fucking Lena Horne, Alicia Keys. These aren't black women. Y'all just want to take everybody because they're hip, slick, and cool. They sound black, or they into your culture and your music. And then over time, they have a tan, and you'll get to thinking they black. No. Them heifers is not black women. They're biracial at best. Or their genetic expression expressed their European side more than their African side. So genetically and biologically, this person is over 50% other. Phil Valentine is not a black man. I don't care what nobody say. What you say, Nahisi? They just mad because they fucked up their life and can't be in law enforcement. Basically. Basically, that's true. Armchair philosopher, what up, homie? What is the best way to get Afrocentrics in the conscious community out of their cult mindset? People share more of my videos. When people are having discussions with other people, you supposed to mention my goddamn name and say, nope, This discussion, this subject matter spins from Chief X's claims. You know, I'm not talking to you, Armchair, but this is what people need to be doing. People be having discussions about all my claim will never mention my name. Niggas better put some respect on my name. This is why Pseudos is winning. Because you guys are in so much competition with each other, you suppress each other. And Pseudos is just winning like a motherfucker. Let people know Chief X is undefeated. On all this debates, Chief X ain't never been beat. Chief X smoked Jabari, he smoked. Say that shit. I don't know, just clowning around. Heroin is the toughest due to its intravenous use, he said. What you say, Ivory Still? You sharing my stuff on Twitter? I so appreciate you. OGT Ben, what's happening with you? Oh, you got the indigenous slavery, excuse me, indigenous slavery in Ghana book? Cool. Yeah, our sister Dr. Paraby is a great scholar. Yes, she is. Clever Speaks. When I get to your question, I'm going to answer. Well, yeah, I haven't got to it yet. I did answer your question above, so maybe you were just writing that because I didn't answer your question yet. Oh, P. Oliver said, she said, me and the old lady might trip to Ghana next October, but when is a great time to go? You should go on the tour with the tour guide. You should go with Bomani's group to Ghana. He goes December and January, 10 days. I believe it's from December 23rd till January the 5th. That time, it's summertime in Ghana, B. Oliver. It's summertime. It's cracking, right? So you get to enjoy Christmas in Ghana. And then you get to enjoy New Year's Eve in Ghana on that tour. And trust me, Bomani know where to take you and know the party spots. I had a ball New Year's Eve in Ghana. We went to the club where they be partying at the clubs in Ghana, I'm telling you. So I think you should go on the tour with Bomani and wait and do it for the December, January trip. If you can. So just look up Bomani African Tours, you'll find it. Plus, you're with a tour group, and he's been there so many times, so like you're protected, right? Bomani's so cool and laid back. You can still do what you want to do. You don't even have to be with a tour group. You can go off on your own motherfucking mission and tell him, hey, bro, I'll see you in 4-5 days. We gonna do our thing here. Now, next time I go, I'm going to do that because I'm familiar with the spots. I'm familiar with the hotels, right? I don't have to always hang with the tour group, you know what I mean? I'll hang with them sometimes, but I've developed a few friends over there, right? I got a lady friend. I got 2 lady friends in Ghana. So when I go next time, I can actually stay with them. And I can just do my own thing and get a room and my own spot. You know what I mean? Get me a couple, 25-year-old thoroughbreds and shit up in there and just and enjoy myself in Ghana. That's what I'm going to do next time. But I'm going to go on with this tour group, but I'm going to do my own thing. We'll just meet back up on our scheduled times whenever we taking flight or when we're moving from Accra inland to Kumasi. So on the tour group, not only do you stay a few days in Accra, Ghana, which is close to the airport and the shore, you also go 4 hours inland to Kumasi. That's when you in Ghana. Like you deep out there in Ghana. You're no longer around the coast and shit. You're around all the, where the poverty is, where just life is cracking. That's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be where life in Ghana was cracking. Get me the fuck away from Accra. Take me inland. And that's why I enjoyed it. So that's why when I came back, I used to say I'm a Kumasian. I'm from Kumasi. Asante gang. And I start banging on Afrocentrics and these Egyptomaniacs, Asante Gang, West Side, Kumasi. You said close, not close to healthcare, not a shot, just asking for clarity. I mean, I told you that then. I don't even know why you asked. You seem like you're trying to be funny. T. Ben says, brother, I don't know how you do it, answering strange, weird questions and explaining yourself to trolls. What you say, real chief hurting folks' bottom lines. The bottom line, that's what I'm hurting. They This is the air home. That's facts. It was messing with ox bread, but I rocks with both of y'all still. Were you off that ish that night you busted up your TV? Yeah, Clever Speaks is just in here for drama. People need to grow up. That's why you get your questions skipped. It's just childish. Like I'm a 52-year-old man. Like, look, we grown folk. Are you sure you're on the right YouTube page, bro? Maybe you want to go to Uncle Suge's page and play them games and shit and all that fuckery and fuckboy shit. Okay, let me get to the rest of these questions. Clever Speaks again. Are we African or American? If a person don't know what the fuck they are, that means they're crazy and should go get on meds. If they don't know. If you live in America and don't know you American, you really need meds. Armchair philosopher asks, how does it make you feel personally? How does it make you personally feel that Sonetter, Ankh, and Garfield have tried to shut you out of the Black Egypt debate and mostly just try to ignore you now? Actually, it makes me feel and know that I was right and that they're in their feelings and that they realize they're wrong and that they realize I'm right. It says, force them to remove me from conversations out of fear. So it just shows that they are fear induced people and that they're scared to death of Chief X. Because, you can't spew the bullshit with Chief X around. So I'm like that mirror they don't want to look into. Acute Wireless asked me, what are my thoughts on Ashra Kwesi? Ashra Kwesi is an Egyptomaniac. He's not a bad human being. I just think he was brainwashed like the rest of us. But I think Ashra Kwesi been knowing better. He knows better now, but he's caught up in the rut. I mean, this is his moneymaker. Taking tours to Egypt when just say 50 people shoot you, $5,000 and you making arrangements. You making a lot of money that year, taking a lot of people to Egypt. So the Hotep hustle is real. Money takes over, and you don't care about miseducating anymore at that point. So people will miseducate you for financial gain. But all that shit he talking about, he wrong. He doesn't know history like that. But he knows what he talks about, although it's wrong. But I was raised on Ashra Kwesi. Ashra Kwesi's from LA. Like if I was Ash Raquazi is was best buddies with my teacher, Mathu Attar. I know both of them well. They both know me. So neither one of them are bad human beings, but all that shit is falsehood. American lady asked me, do I know why Tariq Nasheed and the Black Authority always quote doctors, Dr. Henry Clark, Francis Quest Wilson, and Claude Anderson, but haven't updated their knowledge to what Tone and Yvette of Dados are doing? Yeah, Tariq stole their intellectual property and started FBA, which is some entertainment bullshit. That's why I be mad at niggas be talking about FBA and they ain't saying ADOS. You don't keep FBA out your mouth. We ADOS. We support Tone and Yvette, the co-founders, the professionals. We don't support rappers and motherfucking pimps and shit trying to do some political shit. People crazy. Troll, hearing all this information, Toll Mall says, did black Africans contribute anything major to civilization? We contributed to what's in West and Central Africa. You know that. Now I don't know what you mean by contribute. You know what I mean? A lot of places aren't a lot of people around the world weren't scientifically literate to contribute anything. You know what I mean? And it's okay. They get influenced by other people. You know what I mean? So a lot of times poor nations and smaller nations will get influenced by the larger nation, right? Or the more advanced nation. So, you know, a lot of people didn't contribute to civilization. People contribute in their own ways, in their own culture, what they don't do. Now, if a people is about trying to have competition, well, this civilization was better than this civilization. Oh, that'll get you caught up. Then you get the line about history and revising history so you can compete with other people. Just let it be plain and real. Salute, Peter Truth. Goro 911, salute from Egypt. Salute from Inglewood. On Facebook, S. Rush asked me on Facebook, you said the FDA and USDA make sure that bad food does not reach the people. If that's true, please explain recalls. Now, I don't know why I have to explain recalls, but you're talking about food. It's like if I um, pluck 100 apples, a couple of the apples might be bad. I mean, like there's certain things we have no control over. You know what I mean? So if one out of all these got poisoned or something and had some kind of poison in it, and something happened to a human being who ate that, and they got some kind of food poison where they were hospitalized, and they tracked it to figure out where the food poisoning come from. So now they got to recall all this certain item. That's just life. It's a good thing. Nothing's perfect when you're talking about food, bacteria, and germs and viruses. You can't control that. These are natural disasters, can I say, for lack of a better word. These are just natural incidents that happened. Nothing is perfect. You get what I'm saying? So at a point in time, science and technology created cell phones, right? So in 1987, in high school, we had these big old block ass cell phones the homies was using, which may worked good sometimes and didn't work good. The reception was on and off, but it's improved now. So everything that's out here is not just 100% on point. Things improve with time, right? You have to recall shit, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean that the FDA and USDA is not doing their job. It's just certain things we don't have no control over as normal, fallible human beings. Yeah, so you have to get over the fact that the FDA is your friend. I know the conscious community hate on all these things and woke folk make you develop all this propaganda for you to hate government organizations. These people are your friend. Thank them. Everything you grew up on was FDA checked. Everything in your refrigerator and cabinet right now is FDA approved. Say thank you for keeping you alive and keeping you safe. Say thank you for the recalls so you won't buy none of that toxic or poisonous shit. Say thank you, FDA. Like people be hating on NASA. I'm like, a lot of y'all in the South is alive because of NASA. Say thank you. They had a weather warning system and tracked hurricanes for your ass and told you to evacuate so you won't die. Say thank you, NASA. So yeah, these government we got to be more thankful and appreciative of these government organizations that work for us and help us and keep us safe. Damn, I got 40 people, 41 people watching me right now. Oh man. What's happening, Roshonda Hayward? How you doing, sis? Sean Blanco, what's up? Peter Truth asked me, what do I think about Dr. Leonard Jeffries? He's a basic, historian. No bells and whistles to me. I mean, like certain, a lot of these cats, a lot of these so-called elders in the conscious community. If I was comparing them to other scholars, they're on a lower level. That's like the low bar. Like if I was studying something, I would probably go to another doctor, another scholar, another historian than these. These are low bar scholars and historians, in my opinion. Who have an agenda and it's not always genuine, and they always race baiting. When a nigga race bait me, I don't fuck with them because I know they have an agenda, and that's to tap my emotions and play with me. Don't race bait me. Don't try to tap my emotions. Just tell me the fucking raw truth. So I have nothing bad to say about Leonard Jeffries, but they're all part of the go along, get along gang. So a lot of them are disingenuous. They're gonna help each other lie. They'll never expose each other. They'll never correct each other. If one's wrong, the other one will never correct them. They're all friends. They're all homies. Leonard Jeffries, all these people, and all these Afrocentrics, all in this community of Melefe Asante, they all know each other. They all been vibing for a while. They're all homies. They're all birds of a feather flock together. It's only a handful of them, and they birds of a feather. Like you got to get up out that circle. If you want to move, if you want to progress intellectually, you got to get the fuck up out that circle. Would you say, American Lady, I am new to your channel and I appreciate your research and hard work. Have you done a video on the Bantu expansion? I've mentioned the Bantu expansion, haven't done a video on it, but that's a good fucking thing to do a video on, and I appreciate the you influencing me to possibly do that. I think I'm going to do that. Carter G, what's the question? Have you came up, since you came up in the conscious community, and knowing how they always hated on real scholars like Skip Gates, what made you finally listen to him? Or did you always listen to him? I let me tell you, early on in my days in the conscious community, they all the Afrocentrics used to clown Skip Gates. I didn't know the reason for it, but later on, as over the last several years, I was starting to investigate why. But I realized why now. They used to clown Skip Gates because Skip Gates wouldn't help them romanticize history and shit. Skip Gates would be against shit. Skip Gates would tell a motherfucker, you're not Egyptian. You know what I mean? Afrocentrics not gonna take to that shit, especially all in the 80s and 90s and the year 2000. They wasn't taking no anti-Egypt talk from a nigga. That's why I'm outcasted. Fuck is no black Egypt. I'm outcasted because of this. You know what I mean? So Skip Gates was the same way. Even um, um, to a certain extent, how am I forgetting my favorite scholar's name? To Blueprint for Black Power. Damn, how's his name just slipping me? I have a brain freeze sometimes. What's the guy with the Blueprint for Black Power's name? This is a damn shame. Dr. Amos Wilson. Thank you. They even hated on Dr. Amos Wilson a little bit. Now, a lot of y'all not from or was around, but you will never hear the Afrocentric scholars call out Dr. Amos Wilson's name, and he was the best. Dr. Amos Wilson wasn't like them. Dr. Amos Wilson and let me tell you, you see what that says? It says, Professor Amos Wilson, a psychologist, calls this theft of history. So what them Afrocentrics was doing was stealing history. Romanticizing history. Dr. Amos Wilson, my favorite of the scholars in that kind of a genre, didn't play that shit. You will never hear Dr. Amos Wilson saying we ancient Egyptians. You won't hear him romanticizing history. Dr. Amos Wilson was a psychologist. He was about the mind state, the conscious, the subconscious of black folk. If your mind ain't right, anything else we're doing and trying to do it won't work. So he was about getting your mind right first. He was a psychologist. So I worked in mental health, so I deal with psychologists are my favorite. You know what I mean? So a lot of them elders never really mention his name or give Dr. Amos Wilson big ups. He was sort of an outcast, but not really. But Dr. Amos Wilson was just real, and that's why he's in this book called We Can't Go Home Again, An Argument About Afrocentrism by Dr. Clarence Walker. A lot of us are real with our shit. And we just don't vibe well with fucking habitual liars. And I'm sure that's how Dr. Amos Wilson was also working at the different colleges in New York amongst these cats. You don't even see them doing lecture presentations together in the old days. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm telling you, man. Yeah. Joe Biden's trash. Roshana Hayward. Hey, Chief, somebody asked me, just for fun, which civilization do you consider the greatest or the most impressive? I mean, around the world, we would all have to agree that the ancient Egyptian civilization was impressive. You know what I mean? It's the first who had the first written record of history. You know what I mean? The monuments and things still intact nowadays. So ancient Egypt just makes anyone and everyone so fucking curious. It's mysterious. It's mystical magical. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of things that just creates a bunch of curiosity from all races. So I guess I would have to say that civilization was the most impressive, and America's impressive. You say you're not anti FDA. I hear you, S. Rush. What's up, Blanco? Sean Blanco says you break things down so good, bro. Even the FDA right now. That was well said, man. Yeah. I mean, like, if we just being honest with each other, a lot of us would be dead if it wasn't for the FDA. It's a government agency that developed for a good fucking reason. Did you guys have you guys ever read the information before the FDA and why they got started and how they was finding a lot of canned goods and shit that was just fucking trash inside and just bunch of unhealthy shit, bunch of poison shit. People was putting together and canning their own shit and people was selling and marketing shit and a lot of motherfuckers around the whole fucking country was getting poisoned. Bad food was everywhere. Spoiled food was everywhere. That's why the FDA jumped off. You had to get this shit regulated and under control. So everything just can't hit the market. You get what I'm saying? Like milk, for instance. Milk is the most tested, just regulated food to me. Man. So, say a farmer has a huge 1,000 gallons of milk. FDA come test that shit. If that shit shows any kind of toxicity, any kind of poison, anything it shouldn't be other than pure, FDA say you gotta get rid of the whole fucking batch. Farmer lost all kind of money losing 100 million gallons of milk that he cannot take to market. So them milk farmers, them dairy farmers, that shit be super clean. That milk be pure, uncontaminated, or they will lose money, which can cause their entire dairy farm to shut down on a big loss like that. Nope, they keeping that milk pure because the FDA is regulating it. You won't find no motherfucking bad milk on any of these markets. They kept that shit safe for you. Say thank you, FDA. That shit you see on YouTube with cows and people and vegetarians throwing this propaganda and pus and all these cows, these diseased cows, and here's the milk. This is what y'all lies. They are scared to death for their cow to have any kind of disease. They'll separate that cow in a second. They got to, or their farm will shut down. Are you kidding me? Don't listen to none of these niggas on YouTube. FDA is doing a fine job keeping shit safe for humanity. Matter of fact, the FDA agents and all them people, their food is their cabinets are full of FDA approved food. You know what I'm saying? They don't want their kids and family getting sick. Yeah, FDA is a great fucking thing. No matter how many people hate on it, ignore them. Carter C. Goodson, I really appreciate the motherfucking super chat donation, bro. Is this your second time donating to me, man? Man, I be appreciating that shit. I don't know about anybody else who gets super chats. You can give me 50 cents. Chief X is appreciative. So appreciative. I'm trying to I don't know how to put it up on the thing because I'm on my cell phone. I'm not on my desktop. So I can't do it like I want to do it and advertise your question and statement. Respect, but Carter G. Goodson said, respect the fact that you show love to Henry Louis Gates and African scholar Dr. Akusa Adoma Paribi. She's the lady who wrote this, by the way. Professor Purby. And she's a great scholar, boy. She's in the archive. She's done all. She got all the records on the oral traditions, anything they got written. Purby got it all when it comes to Ghana. um, when will you and Ankh or SETI debate? Leonard, hit the notification bell and then click all so you get all notifications so you can see my videos. Because like I speak on this all the time. Leonard asked me, when will you and Ankh or SETI debate? SETI has ostracized himself from the community because people have advanced for him and he doesn't want to embrace science. And he knows that every time he began to be challenged on his bullshit, he knows he's doing foul. He knows he's miseducating on purpose. You know what I mean? So SETI does his own thing so nobody will bother him. I've called him on him for the day, he won't debate. I've called Ankh out 10 different times for a debate. He refuses. He keeps pump faking. He don't want it. He's even come to the point now where he don't even want people saying my name. I can't come on the Pseudo Killers channel on a panel. Nowhere around him. He'll have a nervous breakdown. I mean, Ankh is gone. But he don't want to debate me. None of these cats want to debate me. They make up any excuse not to debate me. What you say, Kern Ramos? Amos Wilson's your favorite too, yeah. Amos Wilson was not about the bullshit and all the jive talk. He wants you niggas to get your shit together. Roshonda Hayward said, what are your thoughts on Dr. Francis Kess Welsing and Dr. Claude Anderson? I like Dr. Claude Anderson's information. He's on point with his information. Um, I mean, he still kind of race baits a little bit, but for what he's talking about when he goes back in history, kind of like an economist, sometimes it's necessary. You know what I mean? But Claude Anderson's info's on point. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, sweet lady, but she straight pushed pseudoscience. Oh, that's it in her book. The ISIS paper is a total pseudoscience book, falsehood, and a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry. Sweet lady, though. But her book, ISIS paper, is pseudoscience at its finest. Would you say Spin City? Phil Valentine, dad was a politician. It's on Wikipedia. Okay. Darrell said, I hated on Skip Gates also because he said point blank Egypt wasn't black. That's it. Yeah. What you say, Kern Rose? Dr. Amos Wilson was very pragmatic and wasn't with the feel good stuff. Right. Okay, so American Lady. Okay, a video on the Bantu expansion will be the nail in the coffin for the Pan Africanists who view Africa as victims of Europeans instead of victimizers of their own. You know what? That's true. And that's something you will never see an Afrocentric or even these scholars on YouTube talk about. And they hate it because it doesn't put them in a good light. It makes them see reality. And like things when I said, like, Africans are brutal to other Africans. I mean, Africans are brutal to other Africans. There's never been unity on the continent in sub-Saharan Africa. Sub-Saharan Africans always scraped for everything they needed. All them tribes fought with each other. They didn't vibe. They didn't get along. Therefore, they couldn't come into unity or have any kind of win dealing with Europeans. The Europeans was easily able to separate this tribe from this tribe, pit this one against this one, because they didn't give a fuck and they was brutal and everybody was for themselves. When I went, I'm telling you this is from an African. They say, bro, Africans are disrespectful to other Africans. They are brutal to each other. So that's why they was raping and pillaging and raiding other villages and enslaving other Africans. They didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Black Americans don't want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Onyx said, Chief X, I heard you say you served in the Navy. For how many years? I served on the Carl Vinson from 2000 to 2010. What ship were you on? And did you make Chief thus your name? I love that question. You know what? When I was in the Navy, I had this fascination for the chiefs. So the enlisted man, a chief, to anybody who don't know, is an enlisted man. He's not an officer. But when you get rank up high, you get called a chief, and then you're a senior chief, and then you're a master chief. I think I remember the order. But no way did I make chief, bro. They kicked my ass out. So I did 2.5 years, right? From 87, I went in when I was 17, straight out of high school. Um, Went to boot camp in Chicago, Great Lakes, Illinois. Went to A school in Dam Neck, Virginia for 4 months. And became an operations specialist. And somehow got lucky, which was really a bad thing in hindsight. But at the time, to me, loved it. Somehow, then after A school, I did pretty good in school. And they end up stationing me in Long Beach, California, at the Long Beach Naval Base. That is now closed. But it was a mistake for a young buck like me. So I'm stationed in Long Beach around the homies, and got an El Camino and shit. That was a car we was rolling. I was doing good and shit, and balling and shit in my mind, according to my friends for other 17 and 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds, right? So I got stationed in Long Beach, got stationed on an amphib ship called USS Cayuga, LST 1186. Cayuga, USS Cayuga, LST 1186, stationed in Long Beach, California. Right, so I did a lot of time in the shipyard. We went out. I did get to go on a Westpac, which is short for West Pacific. We went out to sea for 6 months. So I did get to go on the Westpac, which is the highlight of being in the Navy to me, right? And I went to Hawaii, Hong Kong, Korea, Japan, Tokyo, Philippines. One place I missed out on is Thailand. I really wanted to go to Thailand, but we didn't make the Thailand trip. Where else I've been? All the Asian countries, right? So, like people on the West Coast in the Navy, sometimes they get to go to the African countries and shit like that. But I'm on the West Coast of America, so when we go west, we're in the Pacific Ocean, and we go to like Asian countries and shit like that. But I recall your ship name. Would you say the Vincent? Let me look at the comments again. Chief X, I heard you served in the Navy. You served in Call. Do you get full health benefits, like full 100%? Everybody that was in the service getting disability money. So yeah, I got put out because I ended up getting on drugs and in 80, late 89, I tested positive on the urinalysis for marijuana and cocaine. And they at that time they gave me a choice: did I want to go or stay? They gave me 45 days restriction, 45 days extra duty, 45-day some pay taken and shit like that. Busted me down back down to a E1. I think I made E3 or something. But then they bust me down to back down to an E1, so I never even made petty officer, first class. I mean, excuse me, I never even made a petty officer. But I had a ball, and it was a great experience being in the Navy. Dr. Banoob said, we love us some Chief X. Thank you, bro. Is it true cow milk has pus in it? No. I'm sure a sick and a diseased cow may produce some foul milk. Yeah. But not just a normal, healthy cow, no. That's propaganda. That's vegan propaganda. Rashonda said, what was the song that you was jamming in the car earlier on your story? That song was fire. Was that Mary J. Blige? Mary J. Blige, don't leave me, leave me, leave me. Don't Go, Mary J. Blige, on one of her first albums. If you're talking about yesterday's. I mean, a couple days ago. Hey, Big Dave Blake asked me, Chief X, when will you do a debate about Egypt? No, everybody's scared, so they won't. Sonetta don't even want that information hitting his channel. Because these niggas, his name is Saneter, and it's his Egyptian name. It's an Egyptian god name. The whole platform has been built on black folk being descendants of ancient Egyptians. And us being black Hebrew Israelites. That's the whole platform is built off of that. So if a nigga coming with something, just tearing all that shit down, oh, that's fucking with everybody's money. That's fucking with it. That means everything these niggas been saying for 40 years has been wrong. It destroys everything. It totally debunks the entire conscious community and turns it upside down on its head. That means all that Kemet on trial, big debate, the Hebrew Israelites were wrong and the Egyptomaniacs were wrong. Both of them was wrong. Both of them arguing about another people's history and another people's culture. That's like a Japanese person arguing with a Pakistani person about them being Samoan. I mean, like, what the fuck? Kim Rose, man, Karen Rose, I appreciate the donation, bro. I appreciate the $9.99. Karen Rose, man, I really, 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 really appreciate that, bro. You know, I don't. If I make 10 videos, one video I may say, hey, cash app a nigga. But I don't be asking for money in cash app. So when you guys do this, I know it's out of your heart. You know what I mean? All this stuff I do and say and presentations I put together, I don't get a penny for it. I don't make no money for it. I don't even try to sell y'all moringa. You don't see me giving y'all my website. So these donations, I appreciate it. People do need something who's giving back to the community in a proper way. All these pseudos and all these fake ass teachers miseducating people is getting rich off of miseducating people. Niggas like me is just like, huh. Now, hey, maybe I might go live more often if I get more donations and do some real shit. Maybe I might become a YouTuber again. You know what I mean? Appreciate you, bro. You should say Carter C. Woodson. All of Dr. Claude Anderson's books are incredible. Yeah, I've never had anything bad to say about Dr. Claude Anderson. Great guy, great information. He's similar to an economist to me. He's different. He's similar to a Thomas Sowell, even though Thomas Sowell is a deeper. Like I tell people, an economist is who everyone needs to listen to. An economist is like a how can I put it? He's like a financial expert and a historian all together. So he knows about the economies of cultures and nations and world economies and why this happened like that. And let me delve into the welfare state and how it affected people. It's getting welfare. It goes deep into more than just finances. It goes into finances of economies and economies of cultures and nation states. And economist is a deep motherfucker. That's why Thomas Sowell is so deep. And Claude Anderson is similar, just without the history. Hey, Dottie, you asked me why the Navy test me. Back in 1987, 89, marijuana wasn't looked at in a good light. Marijuana was frowned on, right? So yeah, the Navy military always tests. It's the military. You're not supposed to do drugs as you have been in the military. It's a matter of life and death. You can't have people in the military all whacked out, although they do dope. But it's against the rules in the military. And as you can, why, Which say current roles, I started my own trucking company after reading Amos Wilson books and listening to his lectures. Yep. See, when a person is science based, their life is also on a good track because you're not living in a fantasy land. You're always in reality. So even your business endeavors are based on reality and you progress and succeed, right? If I was some rabid racist and disconscious and all this old shit, maybe my business wouldn't do as well as it is because now I can't network with other races and shit. I don't have the best attitude dealing with a white person when I'm doing business because of my mentality and shit. And therefore, everything irons itself out in the cream always rises to the top in the long run. So whatever your mind state is how your life will lead. Right? If you're a rabid racist, which is not a good thing, your life may not lead you in the proper directions to meet the proper people and to do business with and network with the proper people. Like somebody can refer somebody to me for business. Now, if that somebody seen me as a rabid racist, then they won't refer that person to me because they already know Chief X is a rabid racist. I'm not going to refer this person to him. You see what? It's a psychological game 360 degrees around. You have to be an on-point human being to progress in life. You know what I mean? Or be a fraud and a scammer and, you get over on people to make your money. You know what I mean? So, either way. Freddie G, you said, I'm in a career right now, Air Force. What? Freddie G, you in the Air Force? That's a good thing. I would say Air Force got some smart people. Most people who go to the Air Force are pretty mentally sharp kind of cats. I don't know why that is. I would say the Air Force has the most, in the Navy, has the smartest people. The Marines and the Army are do more of the grunt work. They like front line and no, I'm not a front line kind of nigga. I'm the thinker, you know what I mean? The pen, you know what I mean? I'll direct the front line, you know what I mean? But I'm not the front line. You know what I'm saying? I'm up here directing the people down here. No, I don't know about no blood and chocolate. I haven't heard of that, Sean Blanco. American lady says, what is a black Hebrew Israelite? Freddie G, I appreciate your donation, man. Let me see if I can. I'm pushing this thing. They won't even allow me to put a comment on my screen. I do know how to do that when I'm on my computer, but I don't know if something's fucked up on my phone. Would you say, Sean Blanco, you should go live more? You're one of the best, Chief. I appreciate your words, Blanco. Carter C. Goodson, Kanye West gave Dr. Clyde Poweronomics books to Trump's administration, and they even spoke highly of it. All type of articles came out of that showing love to Dr. Clyde. Yeah, Dr. Clyde's on point, I have to admit. Dr. Banu says Trump doesn't read books. Trump's a businessman. Trump's a hustler. That's what he is. Trump kicked the Republicans and Democrats' ass, both of them, and became president as an outsider. That motherfucker bad, ain't it? People say Trump's a bad businessman. Shit. You can't be no billionaire and be considered a bad businessman, in my opinion. Now, businessmen, some of these businessmen be having 20 different businesses and done 20 different things, and maybe 3 failed, but the other 17 was fucking great. You get what I'm saying? Some of these people buy up corporations, run them into the ground, and then sell them, and then people think that was bad business. But no, that was a hustle money move. Any nigga that can become president with all the money it takes in funding and hustling and the gift of gab and the networking to become president of the free world of the United States, you'd be doing some business. You's a bad motherfucking businessman. You's a great badass businessman. I'm gonna have to bow down to your hustle and your gift of gab and how you made that shit happen and became president. Nigga, salute. Trump was brilliant on that tip. Trump was so close of a businessman, like when both presidents chose somebody to represent Black America. Check this out. Now, I'm a conservative, so guess what? You guys, Biden chose Cardi B, and she's not even black, to represent Black America, to get y'all on board, and she was the Black America's representative. Cardi B, the stripper, you know what I mean? Twerking, sucking dick, and WAP video and raping men. You know what I mean? That fuck shit. You know, anything goes. Liberal. Anything goes. Fuck it. We're going to vote for men marrying men. Fuck it. Liberal. Anything goes. Who Trump have? Businessman. Kanye West. Look here, man. We doing business, man. We making money. What's happening? Do for self philosophy. Nation of Islam. What's up? That's the kind of team I wasn't down with. Money making. Trump giving money to all these inner city neighborhoods to build it up. And they not taking advantage of it. He gave it to you though. Hustling money. And then gonna cry about gentrification. Here in Inglewood, they built a football stadium, right? The Rams football stadium. Inglewood is expensive to live now, right? Gentrification going on. You know, big money coming through Inglewood. The Clippers Stadium is being built right next door to the Rams Stadium. Oh, Inglewood's lit. Inglewood got the Forum where they have all kind of concerts. They got the Rams Stadium, and next door they're gonna have the Clippers Stadium. Oh, Inglewood's cracking. Money, white folks. Inglewood residents crying. Gentrification. Yeah, you got to get the fuck out. If an area is cleaning up and bringing fun to your city, in restaurants and all this old shit, yeah. If you can't afford it, you got to move. Nigga, go somewhere where you can afford it. You goddamn right. That's how shit work. And got the audacity to be crying. Oh, why we can't have no restaurant? I want a cheesecake factory in the hood over here. Why we can't have these nice restaurants and nice department stores in our neighborhood? But at the same time, crying about gentrification. Well, what the fuck? You can't have it both ways. If you want nice restaurants, that means in football stadiums that you voted for, and all this money coming in and out in Clipper Stadium, Inglewood, y'all all voting for all this good shit. But you expect the prices of rent to stay the same? You want all the good shit, and you want the price of rent to stay low. It don't work like that. This is why I stopped tripping on that gentrification shit you niggas be crying about. Gentrification is good. I love it. Yep. I no longer look at it as bad. I begin to understand I like multiculturalism. It helps everything. They say the companies or corporations that are multicultural do the best. Because you have a group of people with many different ideas and ideologies putting together to make that corporation grow. That's what they say. Corporations that are multicultural or have multiple ideas, you have corporate people with all the ideas from blacks, ideas from whites, ideas from Asians. I want to go to an Asian restaurant down the street. I might want some Chinese food one day. The next day, I might want some Mexican food. You understand what I'm saying? I might want some soul food. I might want some Greek food. Give me a motherfucking falafel. You understand me? Or I want some Mediterranean shit. You understand what I'm saying? I like multiculturalism as a grown ass intelligent man now. Inglewood is looking pretty now. Good. What is you mad at? You didn't want the money Trump gave you to build it up yourself. They said, here's some money for you guys to start businesses in your neighborhoods. You niggas didn't do nothing with it. What the fuck? So what they say, like Farrakhan said, what you don't use, you lose. Oh, you niggas ain't gonna build this shit up? You ain't gonna do nothing with it? Okay, we will. Oh, in Africa, you niggas ain't gonna get these diamonds out the dirt? You ain't getting all these diamonds out? Okay, we'll get them out. What you don't use, you lose. Move. Here, give me a couple $1,000 in here. Take this diamond. And man, what you don't use, you lose. That's the law of life. Sounds harsh, but it is a reality. Oh, they said, okay, you got this spot in the spaces of, okay, we're going to build the Clippers stadium right here. Y'all asked for Cheesecake Factory to be in the city. Well, with Cheesecake Factory come me. You're not a Cheesecake Factory owner of a franchise. So if you want Cheesecake Factory, I got to come into your neighborhood. I want to live where I own. So gentrification got to go down. Get over it. For my phone died, cut this live stream off. But I ain't gonna be here much longer. Let me see what folks talking about. DeMarcus Max said, let's hook up a debate. Protein being overrated in muscle development and fitness. Stop. Freddie G agreed. I agree, Chief X. Thanks for the $1.99 donation, bro. Air Force and Navy are the sharp ones. Yep, we're the sharp ones. And the Navy got a Air Force. The Navy fly planes. Navy fighter. We the smartest, bro. They only give smart people jet flyers and shit, flying jets all around, and you know what I mean. Let them dumbass Marines and Army niggas fight on the front line and kill each other. Yeah, the old jarheads. I'm just playing. Hey, Onyx Palm, I've told people that. I told my daughter, my youngest daughter, last year, because she was just, life was kind of passing and life is moving. And I said, you should join the military. Get the fuck up out of here and away from these motherfuckers and go join the military. Put in 4 years of work. And when you get out, you can get a job related, or you know, you would have learned something. You would network with somebody. You know what I mean? You can get put on with somebody. You know what I mean? I was giving her so much game, but she just didn't do it. I do think more kids should join the military. A lot of kids is getting out of high school and don't want to go to college, ain't doing a motherfucking thing. At least they can travel the world, get some experiences, get some discipline, and see something outside of America. You know what I mean? And get something up. I mean, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Like people, are, I'm not driving the military, fighting for me. Whatever you do, if you're an American, you're supporting American superiority. Whether you work at McDonald's, it's the same thing because they're going to be donating to the military and to things that benefit them. You're working for corporations who owners of these big corporations are buddies together and they're running the world together. So whatever you do in America, whether you go to the military or whether you work at McDonald's, you're working in this American system and helping the economy rotate and move. She said, I don't mind nothing you talking about, Chief X, until you start with that pro-Trump stuff. Hate Democrats all you want, but Trump is not the answer. Trump is pretty much an Al Sharpton for white people. Trump ain't for white people. Y'all just don't know. Trump is anti-establishment. This is Trump was the best thing for black folks. You guys just think he's racist. And even if he was racist, he was putting shit out that's benefiting black folk. Black folk was doing good under Trump, whether he's crazy or not, right? So I just don't agree with men marrying men. So I'll vote conservative. It's not per se about Trump all the time. It's not even about the president all the time. It's about the values um, that you hold. So I kind of stick with my values. I've learned to stick with my values. And I think black folk need to stick with their values. Black folk values is Southern Bible Belt values. It is, I'm telling you. Black folk values are Southern Bible Belt values. 90% of our people are Christian based. If our values are Bible Belt values, then our values are conservative values. That means black folks should be voting their values. Black folks should be voting conservative. In reality. But they played a victimhood mind game with you and they got you wrapped up in the liberal anything goes cult. But anyway, enough of that politics talk. Dr. Banoob says, how's USC gonna do this year? My son is playing football at. I wish my son went to USC, but my son got a scholarship and is at right now in training camp playing football at Northwestern Missouri State University. Right, he's a wide receiver up there. So I'm not a big football fan. I'm more of a basketball and combat sports. I'm a rabid wrestling fan, UFC, MMA fan, and a boxing fan. And I'm a basketball fan. Track and field too. But, so I haven't really followed UCLA in their sport, but I'm always rooting for the home team and I hope they do great. Actually, my son played football and basketball growing up, so right now it's like a time where all the kids my son's age, he's 21. He's a junior in college because he did 2 years at a junior college. And then from the junior college, we got him an offer to go to a D2 university and play football. But all of his homies, kids that used to spend the night at my house with my son used to spend the night, because I took my son to football and basketball practice from 5 years old up until high school. I know all these kids and all these youth that play sports all throughout Compton, Carson, and Inglewood. In this system, my son knows them all because he's played youth sports forever on the highest of levels of the youth sports that they can play, right? So all these kids, like kids at USC playing football and basketball for USC, it's like these are my kids too. Like I know these kids. These are my sons. These are my son's friends and best friends and shit. I'm like, it's gonna be a generation that goes to the NBA. Like, damn, I know all these kids. All these kids, these NBA players. A couple of these football players was at my house. You know what I mean? My son was at their house. Like my son got friends that play in the NFL right now. My son got kids that play at USC right now, on the USC basketball team, on the USC football team. Because my son is right at that age where all his sports friends are playing for different universities. Some of them have went pro already. Some of them haven't went pro. Some of them will never go pro. My son thinks he's gonna go pro, but it's really slim chances. It's tough to make it to the NFL. But long as my son get the free education, that's all I give a damn about. He get that free education, that experience, and then he can move on. Yeah, I do believe what Malcolm X said about the Democrats voting for Democrats. It's a cult. We're in a cult. It's like it don't matter. It don't matter. You just voting liberal regardless. It don't matter. Niggas just gonna vote liberal. They're gonna vote against their values because in their mind they think all anybody who's not a Democrat is a rabid racist. This is just in their mind. Democrats have made them feel that way. Which is not true. Carter C. Goodson, I appreciate you. Thanks again, man. Thanks again. Dash Sharab, I don't know if you're joking or what, but Dash Sharab said, Chief Pseudo, you're doing a disservice to the youth. I don't know if that's a joke or you're being serious. But check this out. I'm the only nigga in this conscious community who was a youth counselor for 10 years. Put some respect on my name. It's these other motherfuckers who don't give a shit. I've put in work that nobody can touch. Well, when you hear Brother Red, you say, where's your work? All these niggas haven't put in, they ain't done shit. They ain't done no work. Sonetter ain't done no work. Walking around yelling about history with a bullhorn on the streets is not work. I keep telling people, listen to what I'm saying. Studying history and talking is a hobby and an interest. You're not improving or progressing anyone's life. Let me tell you something. A youth counselor is improving and helping people progress in life and helping them see the light because I'm teaching the youth. I'm counseling the youth. I'm sharing my experience that I had in my pitfalls with the youth to help them on their way. If I go to the mall right now, you're going to have 30 and 40-year-old men say, hey, I know you. You used to work at the group home. You used to work at this treatment facility. I used to be on your caseload at the skate park. When I used to go in and out of Edelman's Children's Court for these child abuse cases, I used to see you as a legal assistant. I done it all. Yep. That's work. I laugh when I hear conscious people talking about they put in work and they doing the work. It's all wanna be somebody type of shit and fake. None of these cats have ever put in half the work that Chief X put in life and working in social services like for real. So let me get y'all mind back to reality. Reality is someone like my girlfriend who was an assistant principal at a high school. Graduation time, she put on that little scholar shit, have her little robe, and give her speech to the kids. They got these kids and parents inside, in and out of her office on a daily basis, every day, 5 days a week, and she's helping kids and improving life and trying to help this kid get in college. And then she may do some shit outside of work and get a gift for a girl who used to work for the kid and help. Man, my lady friend be helping kids as an assistant principal and the youth, doing some major work for the community. This is work. I mean, like, you guys are in La La Land thinking a nigga talking about some Nubians and Egyptians and shit and some Moors is work. In real life, no. So get in your mind, real work is people who do social services, teachers, counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, people who help out humanity, feeding the homeless, and doing shit like that. I'm not talking about no once a year thing and nigga take a picture and post it on social media like he's really doing some work and feeding the homeless. Stop that shit. When I'm sitting here at times 6 days a week, working at a group home and working at a treatment facility at the same time, doing the overnight shift and doing the day shift. When I worked for a year and a half at a day treatment center with mentally disturbed adults. All them grown adults with Down syndrome, during the daytime they go to a day treatment while their family members go to work and they go to a day treatment center. The bus pick them up and drop them. I'm a teacher to 5 of these mentally disabled adults every day for a year and a half, sitting at a desk with them. I'm talking about work in the community. All these cats pale to me. So me being cocky is for a fucking reason. Me saying I'm a wise man is for a fucking reason. I believe I'm a fucking wise man. Ain't too much I haven't done, heard, or seen. I've done way more than the average 52-year-old who's my age. I've lived 2 lifestyles in one lifetime. I've been a dope fiend. I've worked in corporate. I made $100,000 several years doing real estate. Worked in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, helping people. GSR speaker at AA meetings, helping people, giving back people. Letting them know you can get clean and you can get off alcohol and you can get off drugs. Shut up talking to me. These niggas don't compare to me and the work I've done. If all these niggas would have to catch up, I'm far ahead of these cats. Understand that. They say black folk talk conservative, they ain't living conservative. That may be true, be money. Yeah, it's catch them boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. What Sonetta means is he's entertaining himself, he's hotep hustling, and he's making money. He's just having fun on the streets, and he's just doing his hobby, what he likes to do. But talking about history is not gonna make a nigga get a job. Okay? If I'm counseling you as a youth counselor and telling you what you need to do and telling my children what they need to do and they getting up on their ass and getting a job and my son's over here going to college and I'm putting his head, nigga, you going to college? You're going to use sports as the avenue to go to college and get it out the way? You're going to use sports because an idle mind is the devil's workshop, I always used to say. You nigga, you need to be busy. Let's get up, let's go to practice, let's go. Niggas ain't put in no work. This is work. My son's friends, all them kids that spent the night at my house, all them kids that my son spent the night at them house, Me going to practice for basketball and football from 5 years old until ninth grade is a lot of fucking time, a lot of work with kids, all kind of kids. Me picking other kids up to take them to practice because their parents are down and out and ain't doing good and on drugs. One kid might be in a group home, so I'm going to pick this kid up. And I got this kid and my son in the car, and we going to football practice. We learning some discipline. You know, these cats don't compare. This is called work. Running around talking about history on the bullhorn is not work. It's a hobby. Y'all get this through y'all head. So all this credit you give these niggas for talking about history and shit is unwarranted. The real heroes and sheroes are the teachers in these schools, in these inner city schools. They putting up with these kids and working with these kids 5 days a week. My ex-girlfriend, I got a video on YouTube. We did a video together. Y'all remember? She works for LA Unified in special ed department. You know how many kids in special ed she help out with? She has a one-on-one with a kid and goes to his house to pick him up, and they get on the bus and then they go to the school together, and then she's special ed assistant in the classroom with all these crazy badass kids. All my girlfriends and ex-girlfriends who are doing real work and have real education and real professionals. What is you niggas doing? These school teachers and these kids, people that work with kids every day are the real heroes. You niggas in the conscious community are not the heroes. Get that through your thick skull. What's up, Abyss Tide? That's the homegirl. I've been on here for 2.5 hours because I finished my work earlier and I had shit to do. I just wanted to come. I came on here just to come on here for about 10 minutes and answer a few questions and bounce. And I wanted to do a real live tonight, but now I'm so motherfucking tired and I done 2.5 hours. I don't feel like doing a live later on, but I might. Because I'm supposed to be doing a live with Ngozi and Gullah Geechee. Me, Ngozi, and Gullah Geechee gonna set it off. Oh, we're gonna piss a lot of people off. It's coming. He's a Trump a 2-bit hoe. You know, yeah, fuck. Trump don't have the best personality. I can admit that. Trump don't have the best personality. Old redhead motherfucker, he's not like a handsome guy, you know what I mean? He's a turn off to people. He doesn't come off well, you know what I mean? So I understand people's dislike for it. David World said, you ship to the UK, yep. If you're buying from my website, cbdhemplife.com, we ship to the UK. It's a shipping fee. Now, my underground shit, you know, I do my THC and my shrooms that I do underground. I will ship them anywhere as long as the motherfucker pay the shipping fee for it. So, you know what I mean? A lot of my videos, I haven't left my email. You know, my number's everywhere. I mean, if you can be resourceful, you can find Chief X and we can do business. My email's thirdeyexman@yahoo.com. Don't clown me by my email. I had this email for fucking 30 years now. So that's what I was into at that time, the third eye. So my email is thirdeyexman@yahoo.com. You can always email and question me and we can talk and exchange numbers and have a phone call. My phone number's on my website. You know what I mean? If a motherfucker want to find me and contact me, I'm easily found. I'm not hiding from nobody. And we can do business. A lot of y'all don't know I do wholesale and retail. All my products, whether underground products or whatever, I ship cases wholesale. And people feed their family. That's another thing. It's about 20 people who feed their family from with the work Chief X do. A couple niggas didn't quit their job. Chief X sending them shit wholesale. I've got niggas started on consignment. And they feeding their family, selling all kind of edibles in their state. That's why me and Aunt fell out. I gave him some shit on consignment, and he scammed me and never paid me. And we fell out. True story. Me trying to be kind got myself fucked. So fuck these niggas. Aunt messed it up for a lot of motherfuckers. I don't do consignment no more unless I met you in person and we know each other no more. Or you had to really convince me. But Aunt fucked it up for a lot of niggas. When a person is kind and give you consignment so you can get yourself on your together, you don't fuck them. Aunt turned me against giving niggas consignment. Because he scammed me. All right, y'all. Let me see if I got a comment to read. I'm going to get up out of here. Oh, you emailed me before? Okay. I don't know what, 424-222-0628. 424-222-0628. Anybody can call me and talk business. All right, y'all be cool. I'm out of here. Hey, wait. Man, y'all look here. I haven't totaled up these super chat donations people gave me, but look here, bro. I would really appreciate that. Matter of fact, thank you. I really appreciate that. Chief X, I'm out.